how to remain calm even in a tough situations. Or how I like to say, how to remain calm, centered, composed, and in control regardless of appearances. Regardless of what's happening around you, you still know what you want, how to get there, and yeah, appearance and outer world doesn't really matter because you know who you are and where you're going. This video will give you one powerful concept on a top level, explained through a story you can always access and remember, and practical tools that you can actually apply on your day-to-day basis and link back to the story so it's easy for you to recall it even in tough situations. So in one sentence, what I recommend that will help you to remain calm in tough situations is follow your heart and intuition and be centered in pure place in your heart. So centered and connected with pure place in your heart will allow you to keep calm and composed in any situation. And what it actually means and how to actually apply it, keep watching this video and you will find out. So the story, how to see remaining calm in tough situation is like crossing a river. Imagine like 10 meters wide river, so it's not too wide, but it's still plenty of things to cross. And depending on how fast is the river, your challenge to crossing it will be very different. If the river stream is reasonably calm, then you just cross it without thinking much about it. Let's assume the river is not too deep, so it's possible to cross it without swimming. So you just cross it, you don't think about it, you just walk through it, enjoy, look around, doesn't matter, like calm and peace. However, if the river is a bit more stronger, and it's quite strong, then you have to be kind of quite careful where you step, and you have to be really present how you go about the river. However, you can still do it on your own. However, if the river is strong enough, at some point, there's strong in depth, there's so much water going through that you cannot do it on your own. So you need some kind of outside help, which appears to be outside help, like ropes, rafts, some other devices, something that helps you to get across. So you no longer are able to do it just out of the box, let's say. And that's exactly how remaining calm in a tough situation works. And stream to the river are emotions. So the water in the river represents emotions. So if the emotions are not strong, not intense, then it's easy. We don't need to do anything about it. Our natural adaptation or skills usually cope with it, so we don't have to do anything. However, if the river gets a bit stronger, then we have to exercise a bit more mindfulness. We have to be a bit more present, and if at any point we kind of get distracted and forget where we step, where we put our attention, how we express ourselves, we get sidetracked and we get swept away by the stream and basically carried downstream. And in real life, that would be delays, some kind of challenges. So you basically, as you cross the river, you start here, and instead of ending up in exactly opposite place, you would end up somewhere downstream. So it takes more time, more challenges, maybe some bruises here and there because they're rocks. You know how it is when you get into a river. So you have a different journey. You get wet, and if you had some electronics on you, maybe they get wet as well. So it's a different kind of experience. So ideally, you probably want to have the most flow-based and loving and harmonious experience. That means you have to keep that focus, you have to keep that centeredness within you, regardless of appearance, whatever's happening around, no distractions. Keep your aim where you want to end up, and keep calm and centered. And if the river is really strong, as I said, then you need some extra help, and that's where I come in. Like people like me who have studied mindfulness, emotional intelligence, flow state, all these areas that is really helpful and practical. It's really helpful to have these tools and put them in your toolbox. So when you arrive at this river, then you know how to cross it, you know your options, you know how to deal with it. So how do you practically remain calm? And how do you keep your center? Because, as I mentioned, it's all about keeping your center. What are you centered around? And let me just explain what do I mean by center. Center is that energy, that emotion, that feeling that everything seems to be gravitating around. It's like sun in a solar system. Imagine there's sun in a center, so everything revolves around sun. So all the planets, Mars, Venus, Earth, Pluto, Neptune, all these planets, they seem to be gravitating and circling around the sun. So what's the center? Sun is the center, and everything else revolves around it. And the same thing happens for you emotionally. So you have picked certain frequency, certain emotion, certain feeling, either consciously or unconsciously. Most of the time, that frequency is unconscious choice, and most of the time it works for us. So sometimes that choice actually doesn't work for us. So you need to make another choice. We need to pick something that actually serves us at that specific moment. And that feeling is what I call center. And that feeling, that frequency is the center. It's the deep core of it. And then as you go outside, you can see surface feelings, surface level feelings, and thoughts. So you can know your center by observing your mind. And as you observe your mind, you notice certain thoughts circling, coming back, similar thoughts, similar stories, similar patterns show up. And each thought comes with a feeling. And by observing the feelings that thoughts bring, you can kind of judge what's the center. You kind of realize, okay, this is the center. However, what I suggest you to imagine and acknowledge is that at the very core of your existence is pure place in your heart, is love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. So at the very core, you have a soul, and your soul is full of love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. And I suggest always, whenever you remember, center yourself around this true place, pure place in your heart. However, you may choose to center yourself around anything: anger, disappointment, grief, happiness, love, joy. So you have so many choices. You have so many options how and where to center yourself. And you're not obliged to center yourself in your pure place in heart. You're not obliged to center yourself in truth. You don't have to. However, in my experience, life is much easier, much more harmonious if I do that. If I do remember to center myself around pure place in my heart, which is full of love and happiness, harmony, prosperity, all these good things. Basically, in one word, harmony. And now that you understand what is center in your choice, another thing is it's really important to acknowledge when you want to remain in calm is really owning that you are creator of your reality. That you create your reality. And your reality is shaped by the feelings by your feelings. And you may not be in control of all the physical senses you receive, like based on your environment and all these things, but you are in control 100% on your feelings and the feelings you create and how you relate to those feelings that you receive from outside the world. And now that you are receiving all these signals, mixed messages, harmonious messages from outside the world, the question arises, how do you keep your center? How do you remain calm, practically speaking? Well, let's do it holistically and go through 3 categories: mind, body, and heart. So, for your mind, how you remain calm and center is by exercising your ability to choose where do you focus on, what do you focus on, where do you send your attention to, where do you vote with your attention. And you can always choose what to focus on. And another few subsections that are very useful to distinguish are: do you choose to focus on something you can control or something you cannot control? And the only thing that you actually, if you're true to yourself, the only thing you can truly control is yourself. And that means your mind, your thoughts, how you think, your heart, how you feel, and how you act. Your body language, actions. So these are the 3 things that you generally can control: your mind, thoughts, feelings, actions. That's it. Everything else that is outside of you, you can interact with, engage with, you can influence, you can impact, but you cannot control. And I invite you to really deeply connect with your heart and truly, deeply embody this concept and understanding. Because it's easy to project your power to something else outside of you, and then you lose that power because it's projected somewhere else. I invite you to be efficient and take your responsibility and truly realize what are the things that you can control. And it goes also a bit more practical. Whenever you have a conversation or a meeting or other people involved, really focus. What are the things I truly can control? And again, you will be able to control only your side of equation. Everything else depends on other people, and you can control how you interface with other people. What are your actions, your words, encouragements? You can control that. However, how other people respond to that, how they choose to receive it, you cannot. You can only adapt as a feedback your own actions. So I encourage you to put your major focus on the things you can control. That seems to be the thing that works the most for most people I've worked with, and basically most people I know. Another concept that is really useful to focus on: are you focusing on truth, or are you focusing on illusory ideas and untrue concepts? And by truth I mean the truth, the absolute truth. That truth is love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. So this is truth. And everything else is just appearance, illusion, temporary passing thing that leads to more truth. And in more simpler, like this is kind of a high level of it to understand you. Harmony is the truth, and this harmony, I don't want to use the word chaos because chaos is highly structured. If you check the mathematics, then chaos is a defined mathematical function which, depending on initial conditions, has huge variety at the end of it. So I would say random. So it's something that's, not in harmony, let's say. Let's say that. So you get to choose. Where do you put your attention? Do I focus on the things that this person has done good for me? Or do I focus on all the things that they messed up? I get to choose. And it doesn't mean that I have to ignore the things that are, let's say, messed up. It's where do I put my most attention? Where do I put my center on? And from this center, how do I address all the rest of the things? So it's more about where do you come from? And I suggest you come from truth, your center. And it will shift your charisma, your ability to be influential if you always focus and center yourself around truth, on confidence and prosperity, on increase, on giving, gratitude, appreciation, love. Harmony tends to give more harmony. And that's what most of us want. And I imagine you too. And a bit more simpler, so we kind of address this true-untrue dynamic on a high level, so you know how to recognize it by feeling. Does it feel harmonious? Yes. So I'm centered in truth. Doesn't feel disharmony, kind of not sure what's happening? Well, probably it can become more truthful. So there's degrees. It's not black and white. It's more of a spectrum. And yeah, trying to get back to more practical. In more practical terms is, if you're really like, okay, this is energetical stuff, like it's kind of like a bit out there. Well, it's not that out there. It's actually feeling. Like any moment you can ask yourself, how do I feel? And by measuring the feeling, how you feel right now, you know on a spectrum, harmony, disharmony, true, untrue, where you stand. And you can always become more truthful, more in harmony. Another way how to look at it is, what do you want? Do you focus on something you want or something you don't want? Do you focus on solution or problem? You have to be aware of the problem, otherwise you don't know anything about it, but you also have to be aware of the solution. If you focus only on problem, you never focus on solution, right? So, you want to be centered around solution, not on problem. So it's important that you are centered on solution and aware of the problem, and put your most attention and center around the solution. So what do you want? You want solution, so focus on solution. Put your main energy there. So what do you want, what you don't want? At this point, these two labels people misuse them, they get confused around them, and there's so much charge on it. Positive thinking and negative thinking. How I like to see it is, positive thinking is thinking along the terms of what I want. That's it. If I want to be more healthy, have more energy, more passion towards my work, then that's positive thinking. If I catch myself thinking around the terms of this is not going to work, this is not happening, it's unlikely, I don't want that. When I think about the terms of what I don't want, then I call it negative thinking. There's nothing wrong with positive or negative thinking. There's nothing right about positive or negative thinking. It's just two expressions of the same thing, of the same spectrum, of a frequency. And it's about, at the end of the day, what do you want? How do you want to feel? And I imagine that, like me, you want to feel more positive. You want to experience more of the things that you truly want to experience. And positive doesn't always mean pleasant, because sometimes I do want to push myself through a small bit of pain, discomfort, so that I can grow my muscle. So what I want is growth of muscle. In order for me to get there, I need to go through this kind of a challenging phase where I get to experience what some may call discomforting feelings. However, when I am truly honest with myself, I want that. So I get to relate to those discomforting feelings in a positive way. So that seeming discomfort is actually a good thing. And I appreciate it. I like it because I know what it means. So that's what positive and negative means. And important thing to remember when you work with your mind is that energy flows where attention goes. And in simple terms is the wolf you choose to feed gets stronger. That's it. And you get to choose which wolf you want to feed. The one that leads you towards what you want and you want to get stronger at what you want, or the wolf who says that you're not going to get what you want. Wolf that says that, is it possible? Or wolf that doubts it and says, not possible. It's not about having just one wolf at the same time. It's more about, okay, given the choices I have, what do I choose? And sometimes you only have the bad wolf, and then it's realizing, wait, where's the other one? Let me search for it. Let me find the other one, the positive, what I want. You can always bring the thought you want in a picture by focusing your attention where you want. And you get to choose. And I suggest you choose on what you want. So that's mind. And now we go to the body. And when it comes to your body, it's practically speaking, it's more about stress management. So you feel how you feel, you notice what's your body going through, and you apply stress management techniques, which for most people are boring, like they don't understand, they kind of avoidance of it, but actually it's very powerful. And one of the most powerful stress management techniques is breathworks, breathing. Why? Because breathing is interfaced with your sympathetic and parasympathetic systems. So you can relax and activate yourself. It's also linked to both conscious and subconscious. So your breath is your gateway to gaining control over your body and influencing both conscious and subconscious, both mind and body, and both relaxing and activating. So breath is really, really powerful. And most people complicate breath. And in next 1 minute, I will really give you all you need to know about the breath. Well, 80% in 20% of the time. Basically, inhalation, focus on inhalation, making it longer, shorter. No, focus on inhalation, making it shorter, faster will activate you. Focus on exhalation, making it longer, slower, more focused on there, will relax you and let you go. So these two principles will allow you to really control. If you want to activate, focus on inhalation. Make it shorter, make it faster, and focus on there. If you want to relax yourself, focus on exhalation. Make it slower, deeper, and more profound. That's it. All you need to know about breath. Breath hold is something else you can play around. That induces stress, and basically by inducing another stress, you can tense your bodies up, and then as you release that other stress may flow with it. It kind of unblocks. So that's it. That's all you need to know about the breath. And another way how to really manage your stress is movement. Because often we go through life, to the day, and we hold on in our body. Body holds emotions. Every emotion we feel goes through our body because we feel it, and sometimes we store it in our body. If we don't release it, it gets stored. And this is how most of the fat in the body gets stored. That's why we have these fat bellies and obese people. Where it's coming from, one way how to explain it is through storing emotions, either as a buffer or protection or shield, or just something that you don't want to face. You store it away somewhere in the body, you're not really ready to face it. So basically it gets stored in the body, emotion. And different emotions get stored in different places, different organs. So all this science, you probably have heard about it, and you can go deeper. Essentially what it means that your body stores emotion. And if you don't release it, it can also manifest as disease. If you're going through these emotions, you don't release them proactively, they basically overspill. An overspilled negative emotion shows up as the disease. And usually there's a weak link for everyone. There's a weak link in your health, and usually that weak link gets basically acts out first. And therefore, for me, it's usually nosebleeds or stuff like that. I know this. Okay, my immunity goes down, so therefore skin resistance. So that's for everyone is different and unique. But basically, it's releasing stress from the body proactively. I suggest that you do it proactively and release it regularly without needing and waiting for it to explode. And movement. Yeah, movement is one way how to release that. Another really powerful tool is shaking, like really shaking. And that's where some people go wrong. They go to the clubs, they dance, they get drunk and all these things, and they sense this relief. And sometimes they associate consumption of substances with relief and release. When actually what's happening, the thing that actually gave you relief was connection with other people, having connection, and having shaking, dancing, moving, expressing. That actually gave you relief. All that substances part was just an excuse to allow you to go through these two experiences, having this connection with people and having that shaking, moving part of the body. That's it. And you can get same and even better results without the use of any substances. And sometimes we need permission slips and have kind of indulge in certain substances like coffee, tea, and many other mind-altering substances, chamomile tea. So there's many ways how you can alter your state and presence. And however, at the end of the day, those are tools, and you get to choose which tools you want to use. And some tools come with consequences, and many of them come with negative consequences, like alcohol or smoking. There's many positive aspects and there's many negative aspects. And you always have to kind of judge, will the positive aspects right now outweigh the negative ones? Like many people are okay with drinking a glass of wine once in a while. It can have very huge positive aspects. Unless we overdo it and then the negative outweighs. So it's always like that. Where's the balance? What do I want? And what serves me the most? And at the end of the day, most of the times it's that shaking, that connection with body, that's actually helps the body, because body doesn't know what's happening. Just, oh, I'm shaking, I'm releasing. And that's actually really huge stress release mechanism. If there's any trauma, it usually gets released through shaking, and animals do that, and most humans have forgotten it. So therefore, just shaking like that, just release any tension. So allow yourself to do that practically. And so you don't need to go out there, you can do it right now while watching this video. And one thing I really love is this thing called astitude. So basically shake your ass and it will relieve all the tension. And third, so we stress management, we touched upon breath, body movements, including shaking, and the third one is mind. I really want to, when we work with the body, we also have to work with the mind. Why? Because most of the stress comes from the mind. We imagine things. We create stress in our own minds. There's no physical danger right now in present moment. And minds keeps creating these stories, either consciously or subconsciously. No guilt and shame when finding yourself in these states, but that's what usually happens. So we need to be mindful of what are the stories we're creating, what are the emotions we create. And when it comes to emotions, that's something we go next level after a body in a heart. But just to address it quickly, is that emotions, physical aspect of emotion, which is a certain neurotransmitter in our body, will last in our body only for 90 seconds. So after the 90 seconds, after the trigger has come, 90 seconds pass, gone. I don't feel it anymore. That's it. And now the really important thing to know is that if the emotion persists, if the state persists, if the stress persists, then it means something's recreating it. And it could be your conscious mind or subconscious mind. Something's creating it. And we need to address what's creating it so the body doesn't experience stress. And how I like to see it is, I have certain amount of stress my body is comfortable with. There's like this friendly zone, a comfort zone. And I want to keep myself always in that zone. And I have my mind, which is always generating stress, excitement, all these things. And it adds or removes the stress from here. So what I want to do is make sure that I release the stress from my body with movement, shaking, breath works, yoga, going in nature, hugging people, talking to other people, having friends, pets, all these things. So all these stress management activities, I want to make sure that I release it faster than I fill it up. As simple as that. So I want to proactively reduce my stress before it goes over the top. That also means proactively removing all the stressors that the mind is creating. So remove it so it doesn't create. But even if I remove the stress the mind is creating, I still have stress in the body. So I need to release that too. So it's always remove the cause and reduce the effect. Remove the cause and reduce the effect. You need to have both. And if you just work on stress management but don't remove the cause, on one side you're reducing stress, but on the other side you're filling it up. So you may stay stuck, or it actually could get worse. So that's something that people misunderstand. They say, but I'm doing these things, I'm doing yoga, I'm doing this meditation, breath works, blah, blah, blah. Like all these practices, it doesn't work. Well, it actually works. It's a fact it works. Why you don't see the results is because the stress created is larger. Therefore, there's appearance of having these effects. And you remain calm by constantly making sure that your body is in this comfort zone. Because as soon as your body goes out of your comfort zone, boom, it's that much difficult to stay calm because your body is basically out of order. And the third one for the body, as I mentioned, is energy. And it's all about energy levels. And what I mean by that is when you're healthy, when you have lots of energy, it's easy to stay calm. It's easy to have control of your mind. And that's what I propose, that's what I teach, and that's what I invite you to do. Keep yourself on high energy levels, low stress levels or medium stress levels because you need some kind of excitement, and keep yourself healthy. Be proactive to keep yourself healthy because then you have capacity, then you have resources. If you have low energy levels, like being sick and tired, it's really difficult to stay on top of the game. Everything is difficult. Even concentrating your mind on a task, being productive, all that thing is really difficult. And I suggest make life easy for you. Make your life in harmony, therefore focus on having a healthy lifestyle. Be proactive. Have good rest, good act well, and nourish your body. So rest, act, nourish. Run, basically, for short. So it means you need to have adequate rest, sleep, relaxation, release, basically rest time for the body. You need to have certain type of movement, exercise, action, excitement, love, happiness, all these things. You need to have certain stimulation, and then you need to have certain kind of nourishment, something that fulfills you. And it also means physical nourishment, some kind of foods, drinking water, so that everything flows naturally. So make sure you have plenty of water in a balance. So yeah, everything needs to be just right. Everything needs to be just in flow. And finally, to keep yourself, make your journey across the river easy. As I mentioned, high energy helps. If you're weak and sickly, it's really hard to resist the flow. So imagine it's the same thing. Like, it's really hard for you to keep standing upright. Therefore, I do suggest keep your energy levels high. And if you're really sharp and focused to where you're going, it's also easier to get across. Because if you're going like this, like looking there, look there, you can kind of go across and then you forget, and then the stream takes you away. So yeah, back to river. And finally, your heart. How do you remain calm? By focusing your heart. And the easiest way how to explain it is that imagine you're an actor. You're given a play, and there's multiple roles in a play. And you get to choose whatever role you want. You have the first pick. And you have a hero, you have a villain, you have a mother of the hero, you have a mother of the villain. You have all these characters in there. And they have certain frequencies, traits, habits, and all these things. And you get to choose, how do you want to feel? Because feeling is the secret, and everything at the end of the day goes back to how does it feel, what's the energy behind it. And you get to choose. Do you want to be a playful character? Do you want to be serious and bold? Like, this is the way. So you get to choose. How do you want to play it? And your heart is the one who makes the decision. Your heart chooses what are the emotions that it identifies with and transmits in the world. What is being projected out there. And it is just a role. It's this decision you get to make from moment to moment. What is the role you're playing? And the same thing goes when you imagine yourself crossing this river. How do you want to play it? Do you want to be playful when you cross that river? And it's kind of like, da, 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 da. It's easy, let me just go with it, let me put some music on, put some dance moves in there. So you get to choose. Or you want to be more like strategic, rational thinking, straightforward, calculate the route, all these things. You get to choose. And for you to remain calm in any situation, I suggest you choose something harmonious, aligned with the truth, as I mentioned before. And as I mentioned before as well, any feeling disappears in 90 seconds. So if the feeling persists, something's creating it. And there's few things that could be creating it. It could be environment, people around you sense their emotions, they come in. It could be your subconscious mind creating things. So subconscious imaginings quite often happens. I catch myself in a state and a feeling, and I immediately don't know what's happening. And then I realized, oh, it's subconscious mind. And I start imagining what could be creating it, and bring it to consciousness. And I deal with it, and I choose a different role. I make a decision, okay, this is the role I want, and I go on a journey applying that role, embodying that role. And it could be mind consciously creating all the things, thoughts, focus. And it could be your body. Body's just tired. Like, there's not much you can do when you're physically tired and exhausted, apart from going to sleep. And if you're really that tired, yes, you can stimulate yourself temporarily, and it comes at a cost, at later disadvantages maybe. And yeah, you get to choose how you want to play it. What's the role you want to play? And I suggest that you don't take yourself too seriously and choose the roles which are coming from pure place in heart and full in harmony. So that's about it. In summary, to remain calm in any situation, even difficult conversations and appearances, I suggest that you connect and stay connected with pure place in your heart, which is always full and always available of love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. It is always available right now, in the present moment. Connect with it and allow yourself to feel the flow. Be in a flow, remain in a flow with all the things, and go with the flow, in a flow, while keeping your vision sharp. So you need to be centered around harmony, and then you need to have a goal and purpose. So this is something I mentioned just now, and it's very important. As you cross this river, you need to have a focus, you need to have destination, you need to have an outcome. It really helps to have some kind of purpose, destination. And center from which you come. And you anchor yourself in the present moment, in a pure place in your heart, and move towards what you want, which your heart also guides. Because you ask your heart, what do you want? I want that. Okay, we go there. And that's about it. You decide who you want to be, and by keeping your center, you remain calm regardless of appearances. And that's it. Stay thankfully present and have it magical.